Hello everybody. Happy Tuesday, happy Monday. Today's Monday. Happy Monday. I don't know why I cannot seem to keep the days right. I think I'm just messed up because it's our first full day of school. And let's see. It's our first full day of school. I am not in fourth grade anymore, but I am exhausted. Just from my kid being on all day, I am exhausted. Like,
did you say it was Tuesday?
I thought it was, girl, I'm struggling. I posted a video last night where I was like, hey, my name is Karen Clark and I'm a wedding planner. I'm not a wedding planner. I am.
Throwback to the good old days.
The good old days when I was planning your wedding.
I know.
I just want to say for the record, you were a great bride. I just want to say that because I dealt with a lot of crazy brides. You were not one of them.
Thank you. No, we tried to keep it easy, laid back. Because you were a friend, I knew I couldn't act up.
You could not act up. And then Rick kept bringing the silly, which made, planning a lot of fun. So it was the good old days. We have to renew your vows at some point. We got to think about that.
Ooh, that would be fun. You would come. You would get back into the game to do that.
I would do it for y'all. I wouldn't do it for
y'all heard her. Y'all heard it first here. Y'all have to hold her to that.
I would not do it for everybody because Lord Jesus. Listen, I was so glad my sister was an attorney because I had to rewrite my contract several times so that I could get out of working with people. I was like, you're crazy. I can't do this for a year. You're crazy.
Yeah, I definitely have that. It's okay for us to fire each other clause for both patients and author clients. I'm like, if this doesn't work out, you just separate. It's fine. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, not Tuesday. Don't get confused. So I'm on with Doc Swiner. Wanted to do our, what are we calling this?
Check-in.
It was weekly, and now it's more of a bi-weekly check-in with what's happening in the world around us.
It's more of a mental health, just catch up. We're just talking to each other and everybody's listening. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's so funny because I felt like when we started this, every week I'd be like, so Nicole, what are you going to do about school? She'd be like, I don't know. And here we are.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
Yeah, we made it. And all the kids are in school and
here we are. So this is your first full week or your first full day? Okay.
So we're in Wake County. So the first 2 weeks were orientation, which was weird because the kids were kind of on for 15 minutes. And then he's like, can I play Fortnite now? And I'm like, how are they going from 15 minutes of being online to a full day? And maybe that's the other reason that it's so exhausting. Because literally he would get on at 9, be off at 9:30. And now it's been hours. And he's still on. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. But, we're making it through. I wanted to check in with you and, just kind of find out what is going on, on the medical side with Covid-19. I feel like I need to tilt my thing down because it looks like I'm topless. I'm not. I have on
it looks like I'm all dark. Can you see my face?
Let me fix my...
Where's the light?
You gotta find the light. I gotta find the top of my dress. Just to find out what's going on. I know that the last time we talked about you were looking into some things with vaccines and the possibility of trials and things like that. What do we need to know, Doc Swiner? Help us.
So there are a number of trials, a number of pharmaceutical companies running trials right now. There are probably over 60 variations of vaccines being tested right now in the U.S. And there are 2 large companies, particularly Pfizer and Moderna. They're doing they're going into phase 3, which is almost the last phase of research before something can come out to the general public. And so what people have reached out to me about is helping minority folks get recruited to be part of these trials because they aren't seeing a lot of people of color signing up to be volunteers.
That's odd. Imagine that. Why wouldn't the people of color be rushing to sign up? I can't understand why.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, after you pay me, I'm going to help you.
Amen.
I'm going to help you understand where it comes from. No, really, it really is about, and I've kind of surveyed and polled people on social media and, my patients when they come in, we kind of joke about, when this vaccine comes out, are you going to take it? There's just a lot of mistrust for a lot of reasons. I'm sure I'll have the same talks with people about this like I do the flu shot. Although, flu shot's been out forever, right? So I have more information to back me up. I'm not sure what I'm going to say about the COVID vaccine. It all depends on which company puts it out, what the data says, and what, the population is that they tested. I want to know, did you test a lot of African-American, Latinx, people of color, and what did their data say? I will have had more of my physician colleagues, I have Black physician colleagues who have signed up to be a part of these research trials. I talked to my husband about it. He said, nah. I considered it. I was going to take one for the team. I definitely was going. I consider being part of it just so I could contribute, in that way. But my husband said he didn't feel safe. So we have to wait and see.
So I have questions. So number one, I was at Harris Teeter yesterday, and literally every place in Harris Teeter in the parking lot says, "Get your free flu shot today. Get your free flu shot." So do you think that this year will be a year where it'll be harder to get people to take flu shots or easier for people to take flu shots? And then also, what do you need to see for you and your family before you would agree to take a COVID-19 vaccine? So maybe I need to reverse those questions. So what would you need, and how long do you think that could take? Like, do you think you would be, if everything looks good, you'd be comfortable this time next year taking a vaccine?
Yeah. So there was a report out that said, or a news story out that said the president was mad at the FDA because they were moving too slowly. His plan apparently was to have a vaccine out before the election.
Yes, right? It's called the October surprise.
Right, like in a month.
Yeah.
And he is blaming the FDA for moving too slowly. But what has to happen is these phases have to happen. So the phase 1 has to go to phase 2, then phase 3. Then you have to make sure it's not going to kill people, before you put it out there. So what I'm going to need to see is, once a shot is available, I want to see, did it go through all the phases? I don't want any phases skipped. I don't want any fast tracking. I want to see the side effect profile, of course. I want to see the population that was tested, how they did. And then I still might give it a couple more months. Once it's unleashed to what we think will be probably the essential workers and healthcare workers first, because of course we're the ones on the front line. So I'm probably going to wait 3-ish months after it's available, after an appropriate one is available. I've looked at it and it looks safe. I'm still probably going to wait a couple of months.
I'm just concerned, like, it's going to be like a vaccine. We all see the medicine commercials on TV where it's going to be like, yay, you won't get coronavirus, you won't die, but you're going to have
all the side
gums.
effects is like,
your gums are going to be black. You might get cervical cancer. Your feet are going to stink. Like,
yeah. I will say, of the ones that are being tested now, the side effects look very minimal. Fever, cough, congestion, and they seem to only last, a week or so. Of the ones that are, again, of what we know, of the ones that are being tested and the information is being released. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the results actually do look pretty good. And I am very optimistic. I'm just not rushing it. I'm not rushing it.
I do have a good friend who is a conspiracy theorist, a friend that I was talking to earlier today, who was like, do we really know that Chadwick Boseman died of cancer? I mean, he could have been poisoned. I'm just saying, he could have been poisoned.
No, don't do that.
this same conspiracy theorist friend is very much on the tip now that where he's like, if Biden wins, I promise you, there's going to be a vaccine immediately. It's going to have no side effects. It's going to be 1,000,000,000% safe for everybody on the planet. Just watch.
We'll see.
That's his theory. That's his theory.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
Go vote, everybody. Go vote.
Just go vote. So now that
I'll say this. Would I be more willing to take a vaccine under an administrator that I trusted versus not trusted? Absolutely. I'll say that.
Sign me up. I do not trust the vaccine where you are trying to hurry up and get it out before November 3rd. Absolutely not, sir. Mm-mm. That's like I don't trust anybody that's like, no, I can cook a 16-pound turkey in 30 minutes. Where do they do that at? No, I don't trust it.
Let's let it marinate. Let it sit a little bit. Let it sit.
So what about this season?
So you had a good question about the flu stuff.
Yeah. So now that I'm like, it's getting very real. I'm like, I know it's hot outside, but we are about to enter September tomorrow and cold and flu season. And yeah, I saw signs up everywhere like, get your flu shot. So
yeah,
what is that looking like? Do you think people are going to be more nervous about getting a flu shot this year or less nervous? Because I would think I don't know that there are any medicine rules that say you can't have COVID and the flu at the same time. Are there any rules that say that? No, right?
No. So we're going to be testing like crazy, testing for everything. Mm-hmm. My hope is that this encourages people to get it at least at the same rate as before, if not more, get the flu shot. I'm also hopeful that because we are continuing to socially distance and be aggressive about wearing a mask and washing the hands, that our flu numbers are going to go down.
That's good. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
that's my hope.
All the kids in school, maybe.
Right.
They're talking about sending them back at some point. And everybody's doing a great job about wearing masks. So maybe it'll be maybe the numbers are going to be
better this year. Yeah. Are we, my family, are we still going to get the flu shot? Absolutely. And I usually wait until like second week of October to get mine. Because that's historically, that's just always how we've done it. And it seems to last, the whole season goes until about April.
Right.
So that seems to do us pretty well. So, yeah, I still plan to get the flu shot. I still plan to encourage my patients to get the flu shot in clinic as well.
All right. Great. What should we be thinking about? Has anything changed? I mean, I've been seeing some good stuff about numbers being down, but then a couple of days ago, we had another record high. So...
so what's happening with the numbers?
Yeah, so I don't really understand what's happening now as it relates to our state.
Yeah, so hospital admissions are still on a steady decline.
Okay.
Which is why we think, Planet Fitness, yay, it's opening tomorrow.
Oh, are they really?
Yes, some Planet Fitnesses and some crunches.
Oh, really?
Under the medical exemption rule.
Okay.
And I think probably, I guess September 11th is the next, official cutoff for phase 2. So I'm sure we'll be hearing from the governor on whether it's are we going to plan phase 2B? Are we inching towards phase 3? I don't know. But hospital admissions do continue to drop, which is good. And after, a couple of weeks ago, we had a spike and then it dipped. And then now it's kind of again on the upswing, mostly because of these clusters that we saw. And we see in universities. I'm expecting that hopefully to dip down. But, I think we saw the school reopening spike. I'm sure that, we had some high schoolers and private schools and all that probably tested positive after school opened too. So I'm hoping that we'll start to see more of a decline now that we're all kind of reacclimating to that environment.
And I don't know if you've had an opportunity to think about this, but I was reading a story a couple of days ago about how there was a cluster on Central's campus, and it seemed to be limited to football players, which makes sense because they're together a lot. And the story that I was reading was saying that our state's HBCUs had not been seeing the flare-ups that the larger public institutions like UNC, like North Carolina State, like ECU, and I think there were some in the western part of the state as well, that they had been experiencing. Do you have a theory as to why that is? Is it just that the schools are smaller?
I don't know. That's a good question. Now, one thing I didn't realize is, so are college sports happening right now? ACC, they're not, right?
So I know that ACC is like moving forward, but I don't know about all of the sports. Ones. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I hope they're not, because I don't want because I feel like they're throwing these students who don't get paid. Yes, I know they get a free education or a partially free education, but people who don't get paid out to be martyrs for our entertainment and for the benefit of the university, because I know at some point it's about the bottom line. It's about, the amount of money that the school is going to miss. I just don't think you should be playing with people's kids like that. That's just my personal opinion.
No, and the parents, have to make that decision too, for what is best for your family. But maybe it's because, I don't know, I haven't thought much about that. I do know that the clusters that were found in a lot of the other universities were in off-campus, like frat and sorority houses. Mm-hmm. And I know that Black schools don't generally have that.
Right. Right. That's
as frequently. Right. We don't have the property and the money to give back, and we built the homes for the fraternities and all that. So maybe that is the case. But I'm not sure. I'm going to look into that. That's a good theory.
I'll find that story and I'll send you the link. I just thought it was very interesting. And I guess specifically thought it was interesting because I'd actually said before then, I don't see any of this going on at the Black schools. Why is that? Like, is it, I have my own theories, but none of them are based in science, just my personal belief system. But yeah, so I thought it was just really, really interesting that, and maybe it's just a people thing. Like, there's so many people, and at Carolina specifically, I know that they did have clusters that were popping up in some of the dorms too. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. So for the next time we chat, I would like for you to do some research on that. Why is it that HBCUs don't seem to be affected by COVID-19 the way some of the PWIs seem to be affected?
What are they doing right?
What are we doing right at HBCU? Mm-hmm. So check in. You are still like doing the same old, stripping down when you come home, sanitizing your keys, not going to the grocery store, all of that.
As little as possible, I'm going to the grocery store. Now, I will say, so I did go. Before, when I was getting my massages, I was having my favorite massage therapist come into the home. For the first time, I went to have one. And shout out to Bella Trio Spa. If you're a fan of Bella Trio in the area, they to a T, stay in the car. When you check in, we'll let you know when it's time to check in. Half an hour between each person so they could fully sanitize and let it dry. They had one chair off to the side that they also sanitized, that you fill out your paperwork. Everybody in mask, everybody sanitizing. My massage therapist was very she was almost apologetic. She was like, I know this is not going to feel like, the same type of experience, but, I'm touching the doorknob, but I have a towel. She was telling me every move she was making. I'm good. I have a towel. I have my mask. When you lay on your stomach, keep your mask on, So I felt very safe. When I went home, I changed my clothes, took a shower and all that. And, so I made the decision. I made the choice that I was going to risk. That was very minimal risk, but that was the risk I was going to take to have that kind of quote normal experience. But I felt very safe. That's been the only new thing that I've done over the last couple of weeks. And I don't plan to do that often, but I had a gift card. And so I was like, I want to use this gift card.
I had a gift card, so I needed to use it. Okay. All right. Now, my boss goes and gets regular massages and has now for, I think, a couple of months. And at his place, he says that the person is masked, but he did not have to be masked. Was that the case? Did they offer you the opportunity to take your mask off, or did you have to keep it on?
Nope.
Okay.
So she said when I flipped onto my stomach, because I was facing the floor, if I wanted to move it down under my nose, I could.
Mm-hmm.
I chose not to. I kept the whole thing on. I kind of, I moved it so it wasn't pressed up against my face. But no, I was not told that it was okay to take my mask off.
Okay.
All the way.
I did think about
and she
you
kept
yesterday.
hers on for the whole time too.
Okay. I did think about you yesterday because I was very encouraged. So when they said like these stores can open at limited capacity, I was like, yeah, right. They're not really counting how many people are in Target and Walmart. I don't believe it. I went out yesterday and I was in a store because I have a project that I'm working on and I needed to get some things to organize my refrigerator. So I had to go out. But I went to Marshall's and they literally were counting at the door and told me that I had to wait outside until somebody came out before I could go in.
Good.
So that made me feel like some people are taking it seriously because there have been some stores where there's nobody there. It's just a free for all. It's just people coming and going. So it was good.
And I'll tell you what, I don't want us to let our guards down, but I've been pleased. Like, I'm very grateful for where we live, in Durham and even in Wake counties where we are still seeing high numbers. But in this area, our numbers in general are doing very well compared to Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, God bless them, and some of the larger cities. And we are decreasing gradually. I know still with some spikes, but we are decreasing gradually. I think we've done a really good job in trying to contain things. Or when we pick up on a case, we immediately remove that person, test the contacts, all of that. So I don't want anybody to let their guard down. I want you to still wear your mask. I want you to still wash your hands and still sanitize and be very selective. But I am breathing a